My dear friends, today I'll be discussing about the treatment or management of hemorrhagic stroke. Hemorrhagic stroke is the second common type of stroke, or it is one of the important variety of stroke. It constitutes around 10 to 15% of the stroke, and hypertension is the leading risk factor as well as causative factor of hemorrhagic stroke. And hemorrhagic stroke is caused by the sudden rupture of a vessel or cerebrovasculature supplying a part of brain, and because of sudden rupture blood will come out, it will pour into the surrounding neuron, it will form a hematoma, and because of the hematoma a pressure overload will create on the, or mechanical pressure is created on the neurons, and neurons may die because of mechanical effect. Besides, since the artery supplying that part of brain undergoes rupture, so there is lack of blood flow to that particular area, and because of which the neurons may also die of energy failure, oxygen lack, nutrition lack, and lack of blood supply to that part. Besides, because of accumulation of hematoma or bleeding into the neuronal structure, there is rise of intracranial pressure, which even leads to brain death by causing brain herniation. So these are the mechanism by which hemorrhagic stroke is caused. Now, the most important treatment policy of hemorrhagic stroke is to lower down the high blood pressure so as to prevent further bleeding and further damage to the neurons. So, management of the hemorrhagic stroke mainly consists of medical management as well as surgical management. Of course, surgical management is done in very rare cases. Now, as soon as the patient comes to the emergency department or stroke unit or medicine department or emergency, we have to diagnose the hemorrhagic stroke. So we have to diagnose the stroke, then we have to come to the type of the stroke or differential diagnosis of the stroke, that is it is hemorrhagic stroke. So non-contrast CT scan is very much diagnostic tool for diagnosis of hemorrhagic stroke, because CT scan can sensitively detect the presence of blood in the neurons. Non-contrast CT especially is very much sensitive to acute blood or blood deposition in the brain, and that's why non-contrast CT is the diagnostic tool of choice in case of hemorrhagic stroke. Now, once the hemorrhagic stroke is diagnosed, so its treatment strategy is different from ischemic stroke, and we have to start the treatment and management as soon as possible without further delay so as to prevent the disability, mortality, morbidity, and to increase the survivability of the patients. So first we discuss about medical management. So first line of therapy is to lower down the blood pressure, because high blood pressure is responsible for causing the damage and sudden rupture of the blood vessels of the brain or cerebral vasculature. So we have to lower down the blood pressure so as to prevent further neuronal damage as well as brain damage, as well as to prevent the hematoma formation or further bleeding into the brain. That's why we have to provide or we have to prescribe antihypertensive medication, especially calcium channel blocker like nicardipine is a cerebrovascular sensitive, and this calcium channel blocker causes vasodilation and ultimately causes fall of blood pressure. We have to target the blood pressure to be less than 140/90 so as to prevent further bleeding, further hematoma formation, and further neuronal damage has to be prevented. So goal of the antihypertensive is to lower down the blood pressure so as to prevent further hematoma or bleeding into the neurons, and so as to prevent the further progression of the disease and prevention of the mortality, morbidity, and disability of the hemorrhagic stroke. Besides, if sometime because of rapid intracranial pressure rise, so there may be changes in the electrical activity of brain which may lead to seizure, then anti-seizure medicine or anti-epileptic medicine must be applied or must be advised so as to prevent the seizure in such group of patients. But there is no prophylactic anti-epileptic therapy are not recommended for hemorrhagic stroke patients. But if there is epilepsy or seizure can be found, then anti-epileptic drugs has to be given so as to decrease the seizure in such individuals. Besides, sometimes or most of the patients who have undergone hemorrhagic stroke or who are suffering from hemorrhagic stroke, they may be having or they may be on antiplatelet therapy or antiplatelet drug like aspirin, clopidogrel, diazepam, etc. So we have to, and these drugs are anti clot formation, so they prevent clot or thrombus formation and ultimately increase the risk of bleeding. That's why to stop the bleeding we have to prevent the anticoagulation because of antiplatelet or anticoagulant therapy. So those subjects who are on anticoagulant therapy or who are on antiplatelet therapy like aspirin, clopidogrel, that should be immediately stopped so as to prevent further bleeding. Besides, we can reverse the or normalize the clotting mechanism by transfusing fresh frozen plasma as well as vitamin K. Vitamin K is an important coagulant. It helps in coagulation of blood. And if the patient is on anticoagulant and antiplatelet, we have to stop those antiplatelet and anticoagulant immediately because these are maybe responsible for further bleeding or prevention of stoppage of bleeding, and that's why we have to reverse the normal clotting mechanism by giving fresh frozen plasma as well as vitamin K. Besides, if the patient is suffering from any fever, we have to treat with analgesics. If the patient is suffering from any stool clearance or bowel disorders like constipation, the stool softeners can be given. And if the patient is suffering from any diabetes, then you have to treat the high blood sugar level by giving insulin or oral hypoglycemic agents. We have to keep the blood sugar level also normal. And sometimes patient, if the volume of brain lesion or volume of hemorrhage or hematoma is very high or very high volume, in such cases it may increase the intracranial pressure, and because of that there may be cerebral edema also. So we have to take some measures or do some intervention so as to prevent the rise of intracranial pressure or to lower down the intracranial pressure. Then mechanical ventilation is advised for those subjects to prevent the rise of intracranial pressure, as well as even mannitol is also given so as to prevent cerebral edema and prevent the rise of intracranial pressure. So mechanical ventilation is the mostly commonly used along with mannitol, IV mannitol, so osmotherapy to prevent the cerebral edema as well as prevent the rise of intracranial pressure. So that is the treatment strategy for prevention or to treat the hemorrhagic stroke. Besides, we have to provide statins also. Sometimes if the cholesterol level is very much high, we have to lower down the cholesterol level by providing statins. And in rare cases, sometimes surgery is indicated in very rare cases when medical management cannot help very much. When the volume of hemorrhage is very much or hematoma volume is very high or there is a big volume of hematoma in the brain, it may causes brain swelling or cerebral edema or brain edema, and which ultimately causes increase in intracranial pressure. And because of that, in rare cases or in those situations, because of rapid intracranial pressure rise, the patient may die because of brain herniation and neuronal mechanical damage. To prevent that, sometimes neurosurgery is indicated, but in very rare cases. So what are the neurosurgical techniques? Number one is decompression surgery or bar hole operation. If the volume of blood accumulated in the brain is huge amount, then by doing bar hole operation or small hole on the skull, a probe is entered and the clot is removed from the area where bleeding or hematoma accumulation occurs. So in this way, by decompression surgery or by bar hole operation, the clot formation, if it is very big in volume, has to be removed by neurosurgical technique, and we call it bar hole operation. Then in some cases, when the volume of brain hematoma is very high, it may lead to brain swelling and the normal skull cannot accommodate that excessive brain swelling. So to accommodate the extra brain swelling, we have to do craniectomy or removal of the partial removal of a part of skull so as to allow the brain to swell or to undergo swelling or to expand in response to the rapid rise of the intracranial pressure because of the hemorrhagic stroke. So craniectomy has to be done so as to prevent the rise of intracranial pressure and brain herniation when the brain starts swelling or expand because of edema in the brain because of hemorrhagic stroke. And it is common when the volume of hematoma is also very high or big volume of hematoma exists in the brain after hemorrhagic stroke. Besides, there is another technique known as craniotomy. It is also a removal of a part of skull so as to accommodate the brain for expansion or to prevent rise of intracranial pressure to prevent the brain damage. If the patient is suffering from cerebral aneurysm or if the hemorrhagic stroke is because of cerebral aneurysm or rupture of aneurysm, then we have to treat the cerebral aneurysm accordingly. And there are several techniques like clipping, then endovascular coiling so as to prevent the cerebral aneurysm rupture. So what are those techniques? Number one is clipping. What is clipping? Here a metallic clip is allowed or used to stop the bleeding from the aneurysm, and also it prevents the rupture of the aneurysm, which may be risky and may be life threatening. Besides, there is another technique known as endovascular coiling. Here a catheter is used and a platinum wire coil is used around the aneurysm so as to prevent the rupture of the aneurysm. And so these two technique, endovascular technique as well as clipping method using a metallic clip is used so as to prevent the rupture of cerebral aneurysm and to prevent further bleeding. So it requires a neurosurgical technique. Besides, if there is arteriovenous malformation in the brain, which may be another cause of bleeding of the brain, then we need some open surgical technique, neurosurgical technique, so as to treat the arteriovenous malformation. Besides, we need to do embolization, that is another surgical technique. Then there is also another technique known as gamma knife surgery. Gamma knife surgery is also done in some treating brain tumor, but here gamma knife surgery is also used so as to prevent the arteriovenous malformation or to treat the or surgically stop the arteriovenous malformation. So if the patient is suffering from arteriovenous malformation and source of the bleeding into the brain is because of arteriovenous malformation, then we have to treat with surgically open surgical method, then embolization, then we have another technique known as gamma knife surgery so as to treat the arteriovenous malformation. Besides, there is another technique known as ventriculostomy to reduce the intracranial pressure or to give out the extra fluid accumulated in the brain out. That is through a barhole operation. Ventriculostomy is done so as to remove the extra pressure that is created inside the ventricle and to lower the intracranial pressure. So that is another surgical technique that is especially part of neurosurgical technique so as to prevent the brain damage and complication of the hemorrhagic stroke. So these are the various type of techniques for neurosurgical technique so as to treat hemorrhagic stroke in rare cases, but mostly we are targeting the hemorrhagic stroke by using medical therapy or medical management, and BP lowering technique is the most commonly used because lowering the blood pressure is very